Hi guys, on Friday the Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng released his budget. Yes, it was called a mini budget, but as you will see in this report from Sky News, it was not tweaking at the edges of the economy. This was one of the biggest handovers of cash to the rich in a generation. Now, why is the Chancellor doing this? Well, officially, giving money to the richest will see them invested in the economy. It will drive growth and it will stop a recession. However, none of this thinking is actually backed by data or supported by experts. This is class warfare.
Let's start by correcting one thing. This wasn't really a mini budget, was it? This was not just a budget, but possibly the biggest budget of, well, my lifetime, a generation or two. It was enormous. And one way you can see that is by looking at the scale of tax cuts we're talking about here. The higher these bars are, the more the tax cuts over various different budgets. Look, you can see it's going all the way back to those Geoffrey Howe budgets in the 1980s, Nigel Lawson, those famous Thatcherite budgets. This was bigger than any of them. Look at that red bar there. That's today. The biggest, actually, in terms of tax cuts since 1972, the Barber budget of 1972. That led to a big boom, which ended in a crash. Will this be the same? Well, we're going to have a look and see. But take a step back, first of all, and ask the question, who is this going to benefit the most? This chart gives you a sense of that. It's called a distributional analysis. And the higher the bars are, the more people benefit, the more money they're getting from this in terms of those tax cuts, from the lowest income through to the highest income. And well, you can probably see the pattern here. Look, it is the richest 5% who benefit disproportionately, and in large part because of that yellow slug there. That yellow bit is the additional rate of tax, 45%. That's gone, and so that money goes into their pockets. The rich just got considerably richer.
And there we have it. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is class warfare. This is the Conservative Party ignoring the electorate, ignoring voters, and focusing all of their efforts on making sure that the rich get richer. And I've said before, Liz Truss has surrounded herself with right-wing think tanks who are pushing these types of policies. And it won't stop here. We've seen how they've been pushing for the ending of the ban on fracking. This is to benefit the fossil fuel industry. This is industry running government. This is billionaires and millionaires running government. Now, it's been happening for some time, but this really is being sped up. The voters and the electorate are ignored here. They're not going to benefit from this. This is to benefit the rich, the very rich in society. We saw it also, many of these right-wing think tanks are talking about the privatization of the NHS. They're fully supportive of that. And who's listening to them now? Liz Truss and the Chancellor. What needs to happen here is people need to respond. And grumbling about it on the internet is not going to change anything. People need to put pressure on their MPs. They need to write letters, there need to be protests, there needs to be strike action. I think if this continues, there will be a general strike, because the poorer in society continue to get poorer, the richer in society continue to get richer, and you have a government that's not interested in winning elections. Whatever you have to say about Boris Johnson, his goal was winning elections. Liz Truss understands that she will not win elections, so she's there, a sort of zombie government. She's there to funnel money to people who don't actually need it. She realizes she's not going to win the next election, so she's really just there just to operate as a cash machine for the rich at the expense of everyone else. We saw it with the energy price cap. Instead of actually imposing a windfall tax which would have paid for it, no, she's protecting these industries and instead borrowing money that future generations will have to pay back. Protecting these industries. Once again, I don't believe that she cares about the next election. Her focus is on just staying there and channeling as much money, as I said, to people who don't actually need it. That's the ideology now. It's not winning votes, it's not levelling up. Levelling up is pretty much dead now. But most of the policies that Boris Johnson had brought in to convince people to vote for the Conservatives, that's all gone now, it seems. It's pure and simple channel as much money to the rich as possible before we are removed from power. And to hell with the consequences. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.